I don't want any friends at the bottom. Get the hell out of here.
At a class reunion after 15 years, as soon as I saw the face of a classmate from high school, he ridiculed me with a sneer.
You managed to come to the class reunion with your education only up to high school. Are you here to make a fool of yourself?
With those words, the classmate tried to provoke laughter from the others at the table. I was surprised to hear such words that I had never even thought of, but I had something I wanted to convey regardless. However, every time I tried to speak, he would interrupt me and talk over me.
All the members at this table graduated from top universities. We have nothing in common to talk about with you. There's no benefit for us. So just go away?
The classmate made a dismissive gesture with his right hand while wearing a disgusted expression. I see. Well, forget it then. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What? What are you talking about? I don't want to see your face for the rest of my life. We have no use for you. Shut up and get out of here.
In the end, he didn't listen to anything I had to say. If he had understood the meaning behind my "see you tomorrow," his elite life wouldn't have been ruined. I am Nate Parker. I work as a company employee. Work is never easy, but I am grateful that I can work normally now. As an adult, I have found medication that suits my constitution, and I have improved my health. However, when I was a child, I was not very healthy and used to visit the hospital frequently. Looking back year after year, I realized that I've had far more days of poor health than days of good health. It was common for me to leave work early or arrive late, but when I entered junior high school, I began missing school frequently due to poor health. The worst period was right before I entered high school. I had a brief hospitalization in the fall of my first year of high school, and I simply couldn't focus on study. Attending high school with my health at the time was very challenging. Despite the frequent bouts of illness, I still enjoyed school life. Spending break time with friends, quietly sitting through classes while listening to the sound of the blackboard and the teacher's voice, eagerly anticipating the daily desserts served during lunchtime. School was filled with fond memories for me. I was reminded of those feelings when I received a postcard. In the year I turned 30, I received an invitation to a high school reunion. It seems that the reunion coincides with the school's 100th anniversary. Perhaps because of this milestone, it will be a joint reunion for all students. It will be the first time the reunion is held in a large hotel venue, and I'm looking forward to seeing my classmates again after such a long time. So, I've decided to attend. On the day of the reunion, faces from the past filled the venue, and everyone was excitedly chatting with each other. Despite being adults now, as soon as we saw each other, it felt like we were transported back to our high school days. Back in high school, I was often absent, but I was pleasantly surprised that many people remembered me. Perhaps because of my weak constitution, my appearance left a strong impression, and when people noticed the change in me, they exclaimed, "You used to be so skinny, but now you look so solid." The whole class greeted me with such comments. By the way, the high school I attended was well known in the area as a prestigious school, with many students going on to attend high-level universities. Because of this reputation, it was said to have a high rate of students advancing to university. At the reunion, more than half of the attendees were attending prestigious universities, and there were also quite a few graduates from top-tier universities. Dreams were pursued through attending vocational schools, or some chose to enter the workforce after high school, but I believe those cases were only a small part of the whole. Conversations naturally revolved around which university they attended. Each person had their own path and goals, and it was fascinating to hear about the experiences they had pursued or the fields they were currently working in. The venue of the reunion was set up buffet style, allowing people to freely move between tables. Actually, besides looking forward to meeting everyone, there was someone else I wanted to talk to if I could find them. As I made my way around the room, slightly nervous, I spotted Kent at a table towards the back. "Kent, long time no see." I called out, and he immediately met my gaze, but upon seeing my face, he let out a wry smile.
Oh, it's you, Nate.
His expression turning sour as if the air suddenly grew heavy. Sensing the difference in his reaction compared to other classmates, I tilted my head slightly in confusion. As I pondered how to continue the conversation, Kent spoke up.
You managed to come to the reunion. You're a high school graduate, aren't you? Did you come here to embarrass yourself?
Kent said with a smirk, trying to provoke laughter from the others.
Don't you notice something looking at this group? Oh, I see. You were always sickly and stayed at home. So you didn't have any contact with anyone other than us, right? Everyone in this group attended top-tier universities. There's no common ground between you and us. So why don't you go somewhere else? There's no benefit for us in being embarrassed by your presence.
Well, don't say that. I want us to be friends from now on, not just as classmates. I tried to interject, surprised by his words implying embarrassment, but I decided to proceed with what I wanted to convey without dwelling on it too much.
Friends. What are you talking about?
Kent cut me off as I spoke.
Why would you and I be friends? Besides, I don't need friends from the bottom of the barrel. Just leave already and stop causing trouble.
Kent said with a disdainful expression, gesturing with his right hand to shoo me away. Friends from the bottom of the barrel was such a harsh phrase. I couldn't help but wonder why Kent had become such a mean person, but there was no point in getting upset. Although there were things I wanted to convey, it seemed like he wouldn't listen, and I didn't want to further sour the mood, so I decided to stop for today. Well, forget it then. See you tomorrow. I started to say, but Kent interrupted me again.
Tomorrow? What are you talking about? Don't ever show your face again. We have no use for you. Shut up and leave already.
Kent said irritably, shooing me away with his right hand once more. I felt a little upset, but meeting other classmates again was enjoyable, and I had a new job starting tomorrow, so I decided to forget about the unpleasantness and focus on preparing for the next day. I've been transferred here as of today. My name is Nate. Nice to meet you all. The next day, the morning meeting of the company, I greeted all the employees cheerfully. From a slightly distant seat diagonally ahead, I felt an intense gaze directed at me, more than from anyone else. With eyes widened in surprise, Kent was staring at me. As the morning meeting concluded, Kent quickly approached me, faster than anyone else.
Why are you here?
Kent's slightly tense voice made nearby employees turn to see what was happening. I was planning to talk yesterday, but instead of listening, you told me to leave.
No, isn't it an important matter? What's going on? You're a supervisor now. That can't be true, can it?
Kent seemed surprised by the unexpected reunion in this setting. Seeing Kent's reaction, I couldn't help but chuckle. However, the section chief, who overheard our conversation, quickly intervened, looking flustered.
Kent, what's with your attitude towards the supervisor? That's too disrespectful.
Kent, now flustered, tried to explain to the section chief in a more friendly tone, "No, it's not like that." But his words came out hurriedly, showing his agitation. Kent explained to the section chief that we were classmates in high school. However, Kent's agitation stemmed from another reason. He was questioning the section chief about why you didn't even graduate from high school, was working in this company, and why I was a supervisor.
What? You're classmates and you don't know anything. Nate is a university graduate and a powerful man who has worked hard to get this far. That's why he was transferred to our branch office.
What? You went to university, but you hardly ever came to school. What's going on?
Kent was confused, but considering our past, it might not be surprising that even the fact that I attended high school would astonish him. After entering into high school, I spent some time recuperating, since there were occasions when I ran into classmates at the store. I had talked about being hospitalized or resting at home, so I think it was somewhat known to everyone that I wasn't attending high school. However, I hadn't given up on going to high school. I was just waiting for my health to improve. While consulting with doctors and continuing treatment, I transferred to a correspondence high school, which allowed me to study at home on many days. Although I started much later than everyone else, I worked hard on self-study. After graduating from high school, I was able to enter university, putting me a few years behind my classmates. As I gradually saw improvement in my health, my motivation surged. I dedicated myself to studying and pursuing my interests during my 4 years at university. Then, I joined this company's branch office in my hometown after graduation. Since I was a new employee, I have been looked upon in every way and have received compliments on my abilities. However, being older than the other new employees around me, I felt the need to be even more diligent, so I have been steadily working hard. Unexpectedly, I was approached with a promotion offer. I was told that I would first serve as a deputy manager, helping to lead the team alongside the manager, and depending on the results, there might be other responsibilities offered to me. Last year, when that manager was transferred to another branch, I was promoted to manager. It's a plausible story in terms of age, but in terms of years of service, it's an unusually rapid promotion to manager. Coincidentally, there have been many personnel changes over the past 2 years, partly due to retirements among managerial staff. Although it's only been about a year since becoming manager, apparently, there have been some achievements in the role, leading to my transfer from the local branch to the urban branch here. Before the move, I'll be taking a few days off, partly for the relocation process. During this time, I came to this branch office to introduce myself. While talking with the department head, I noticed Kent and learned that we'd be working in the same department. And by chance, the day before my transfer was the day of the alumni reunion. Since I couldn't talk to Kent when I came to introduce myself, I was hoping to have a chance to speak with him at the reunion. However, I later heard another reason for Kent's agitation. Kent, who graduated from a top university. Actually, Kent is also seen as a promising talent here at this branch. And apparently, there were rumors circulating that Kent would become manager at some point. If he continued to excel, it was said that even working at the headquarters was not out of the question. Amidst all this, there was an announcement of personnel changes, and I was appointed as manager. Kent, who was rumored to be the next manager, must have found it hard to believe.
The manager is personable and highly capable. Kent, you can do it.
The section chief encouraged Kent by patting his shoulder at that time, but Kent had a gloomy expression, probably because of that background. However, if I may say so, I think Kent's work performance is quite impressive. When you look at the data such as departmental performance and individual achievements, you can feel that his abilities are indeed as praised. Honestly, I didn't feel like I was declining in any way. Surely, I thought there would be many aspects where we could support each other as we work together in the future. It's been a week since I transferred. As I began to understand the daily work routine and started to feel a bit more relaxed, I was called to the conference room by the department head and section chief, and there, something happened that made me involuntarily exclaim, "Huh." Turns out, Kent received a transfer order, and what was written there wasn't a promotion like manager or anything similar, but rather, it was for the General Affairs Department of a small rural branch located in a distant prefecture from our current branch. After I was called, Kent was also summoned to the conference room. In front of me, Kent received that transfer order.
If you have a desire to contribute to this company, then go to the new branch with a new mindset and come back no matter what.
Kent hung his head low as the department head gave him a severe scolding. But why did this happen? It all stemmed from the events at that alumni reunion. During the reunion, Kent said some pretty harsh things to me, and it turns out that the whole ordeal was witnessed by people related to the company. As it happens, the event company managing the alumni reunion was actually one of our company's business partners, and some of their employees were working as staff at the venue. Apparently, Kent had no direct interaction with them, and he wasn't even aware that staff from our business partner were present. However, among those staff members, there were some who knew Kent, and because Kent stood out, he was in their line of sight. Upon seeing Kent enjoying himself, it seems they made an extra effort to provide sincere service. However, at that moment, someone witnessed Kent's behavior towards me. Although they didn't have direct dealings with Kent at work, this someone had observed Kent's behavior in the workplace and was surprised to see a side of Kent that was completely opposite to his usual demeanor. Moreover, this influential person was aware of who I was. Questions like, is it appropriate to have someone who speaks like that to others? And is that attitude acceptable towards one's superior, especially a manager, arose, and the upper management was notified. The contact person who was present during the incident and observed my interaction with Kent was the liaison from our client, also the department head. Given that they were a major client, it's not surprising that they raised concerns. With the company having high expectations for Kent, it was quite shocking. Following discussions among the higher-ups, it seems a precedent needed to be set.
Why me? Why is this happening to me? It must be a mistake. I was told I'd be promoted to manager next. Why? Why do I keep getting demoted? And to the general affairs department, no less. I won't be able to climb back up from there.
I graduated from a top university. Wasn't I considered an elite? I'm someone extraordinary, Kent shouted in frustration. While stuffing his belongings roughly into a bag at his locker, Kent's face contorted with bitterness. His actions and the sight of him clearing his desk were so pitiful that no one dared to approach him. Kent didn't make eye contact with me or anyone else in the end. He simply slumped his shoulders and left for his new assignment. If you could attribute it to anything, it was his own actions catching up with him. Still, I can't help but feel a bit disappointed. I couldn't help but wonder how he was doing, so I asked around. At the small rural branch, they seemed to be operating with just enough staff, and especially in the general affairs department, there's apparently a lot to handle. Kent would be dealing with tasks like warehouse organization and cleaning, often dismissed as menial chores. He seems to be constantly busy, moving from checking equipment to handling complaints. In Kent's mind, it seems like an unsatisfactory job, and he's complaining, saying, "Isn't this the kind of work that bottom-tier people do?" When he first transferred, he had some pride, and his frustration with being forced to do the work was apparent. However, I've heard that he's been gritting his teeth and suppressing his emotions. It may take some time for him to reflect and acknowledge that the significant demotion was his own fault, according to what the boss said. Hearing about Kent's recent situation made me feel a little sad. The Kent I remember from high school was thoughtful of his friends and always took the lead in everything. He had a quick mind, and even though we only worked together for a week, I thought he's truly impressive. So, even if the environment changed, and even if the nature of the work deteriorated, I imagined him persevering and still performing exceptionally. While I understand that people change internally as they grow up, it's still painful to see it happen, especially when I was looking forward to working together. At the same time, I remind myself, take a lesson from others' mistakes. Without realizing it, I might have changed for the worse or unintentionally made others uncomfortable. Being a manager means being in charge of others. I resolved to tighten up my own act. Compared to others, I've climbed up the ranks in a short time. I also have a sense of pride in the effort I've put in. But I won't forget that it's thanks to the people who support me and have high expectations of me that I've come this far.